Yes, we're moving to the next stage of the pandemic, and as the world resets to the new normal, we find ourselves seeking the right balance between health and livelihood, constantly adjusting the boundaries between liberty and responsibility. Here are tonight's news. President Trump is hospitalized and given an experimental COVID-19 treatment. Deaths from the novel coronavirus in India pass 100,000. Armenian and Azerbaijani forces clash for a seventh day over the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region. And the Church of Christ in Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea celebrated its 30 years anniversary. President Trump was taken to Walter Reed National Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland after testing positive for the coronavirus. In an 18-second video recorded inside the White House and released on Twitter, President Trump broke his silence. Let's listen in.
I want to thank everybody for the tremendous support. I'm going to Walter Reed Hospital. I think I'm doing very well, but we're going to make sure that things work out. The First Lady is doing very well. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will never forget it. Thank you.
Now, White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany said that he's experiencing, quote, mild symptoms and was to be airlifted to the military hospital. And she says this is out of an abundance of caution. Reports say that the president's symptoms are a low-grade fever, fatigue, nasal congestion, and cough. McEnany said he's expected to stay at Walter Reed several days and will work from the hospital's presidential suite.
I'm not going to get into the president's symptoms exactly. He's had mild symptoms, but he is hard at work. We're having to slow him down a little bit. He's been on the phone with Senator McConnell, Senator Lindsey Graham, been on the phone with Chief of Staff Mark Meadows talking about emergency declarations for states as well as stimulus. So he's hard at work despite the mild symptoms. Jonathan.
Well, I'm not going to get into any particular treatment that he may or may not have. He has mild symptoms. As we look at that, the doctor will continue to provide expertise, and the American people can rest assured that we have a president that is not only on the job, will remain on the job, and I'm optimistic that he'll have a very quick and speedy recovery.
Now, President Trump tweeted from the hospital that he is going well in quarantine. White House physician Sean Conley said that the president was fatigued but in good spirits and was taking an experimental COVID-19 treatment. President Trump received a single dose of Regeneron's antibody cocktail. According to Conley in a letter, the treatment is undergoing clinical trials but is not yet approved by regulators. Later on Friday, McEnany said President Trump was receiving the antiviral drug Remdesivir following consultation with specialists. The president wasn't requiring any supplemental oxygen. As a 74-year-old man, Trump is at higher risk for severe illness from the virus, according to the U.S. Health Agency, CDC. Now, news of Trump's infection came after one of his closest advisors, Hope Hicks, tested positive, sparking fears of a cluster of cases emanating from the heart of the White House. Now, Trump met with dozens of people through the week and reportedly went to a fundraiser in New Jersey after it was known that Hicks had contracted the virus. So who else in the White House has it? Take a look. Now, Vice President Mike Pence, who would step in if President Trump falls seriously ill, tested negative on Friday, as did Trump's teenage son, Barron. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, the president's daughter and son-in-law, who are top White House advisors, also tested negative, as well as Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, and Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar. Meanwhile, former White House top aide Kellyanne Conway, however, announced late Friday she had tested positive with mild symptoms. Ronna McDaniel, the chairwoman of the Republican National Committee, tested positive several days ago. It was announced on Friday. Trump's campaign manager, 42-year-old Bill Stepien, also said Friday he had tested positive, according to U.S. media, and was in quarantine with mild symptoms. Many other senior politicians, officials, and military officers who work or visit the White House were getting tested on Friday. Now, for months, President Trump mocked Joe Biden for his cautious campaigning during the coronavirus pandemic. But with the president in quarantine from Friday after testing positive for COVID-19, his Trump train derailed for now. Democratic challenger Biden has the stage to himself 1 month before Election Day. Just Tuesday night, President Trump doubled down on his ribbing of Biden for taking too many virus precautions. Let's listen in.
Are you requesting
Okay. You have to understand, if you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. I put a mask on, when I think I need it. Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test, and you've had social distancing and all of the things that you have to, but I
Just
wear
like your
masks
rallies.
when needed. When needed, I wear masks.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it, and he shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen.
And so I got two COVID tests this morning, one in Delaware and one by the former White House doc who came up, and everything is clear. I'd like to start by acknowledging, which I'm sure all of you do as well, sending my prayers for the health and safety of the First Lady and President of the United States after they tested positive for COVID-19. This is not a matter of politics. It's a bracing reminder to all of us that we have to take this virus seriously. It's not going away automatically. We have to do our part to be responsible. It means following the science, listening to the experts, washing our hands, social distancing. It means wearing a mask in public, and means encouraging others to do so as well.
Now, his campaign team said it was pulling all negative ads against President Trump scheduled to air Friday. It's too soon to predict how President Trump's diagnosis could impact the White House race, already the most turbulent U.S. presidential battle of modern times, and one repeatedly upended by history-making events. With only 32 days to go before Election Day, President Trump's campaign team announced that his events would either be virtual or postponed until further notice. The next Trump-Biden showdown is scheduled for October 15 in Miami, but it's not clear if that would still take place. With his campaign events held virtually or postponed a month before polling day, President Trump's positive COVID-19 test might have important repercussions, according to political sciences Professor Michael Kornfield. Let's listen in.
What happens to the campaign? What happens to the vote? 2.5 million people have already voted for a ballot that has his name on it. What if he becomes incapacitated? So the mind just sort of boggles at all the possibilities, and you have to force yourself to go one step at a time. The Republican Party has a national committee, and they have a procedure to replace a candidate who gets ill or dies. And in all likelihood, that would be the Vice President, Mike Pence. But they would go through a vote. It's already underway. It's best to think about Election Day, November 3, as the end of the voting period, not the day of the voting period. As many as half, or maybe even more, Americans will have voted either by mail or by going and showing up at a voting place before Election Day. That would be one thing. If he released the records of his tests to a neutral third party, that would help. Remember, we would not know any of this potentially were it not for the fact that the press discovered that his assistant, Hope Hicks, had tested positive. They did not release that information. It was leaked to the press. Underscores the recklessness of him going without a mask and encouraging others to go without a mask. And during the debate, making fun of his opponent for wearing a mask, which is what he did.
Meanwhile, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un sent a message to President Trump after the president's diagnosis with the coronavirus, wishing him a quick recovery, according to state media. Take a look. Now, he offered his sympathy to the president and the first lady, according to the official Korean news agency. It said he sincerely hoped that they would be recovered as soon as possible, and he hoped they will surely overcome it, and he sent warm greetings to them. Now, South Korea's Yonhap news agency said it was the first time Kim had sent well wishes to a world leader who tested positive for the novel coronavirus. President Trump has consistently portrayed his close relationship with Kim as one of his foreign policy achievements. And Chinese President Xi Jinping on Saturday also wished to U.S. President Donald Trump a swift recovery from the coronavirus. In his message, Xi and his wife, Peng Liyuan, extended their sympathies to President Trump and First Lady Melania, and said they hope for the speedy recovery of the couple. The Chinese Foreign Ministry, this was according to the Chinese Foreign Ministry. Deaths from the novel coronavirus in India passed 100,000 on Saturday, according to official data, as the pandemic continued to rage across the world's second most populous country. Take a look. A total of 100,842 people have now died, according to Health Ministry figures, giving India the third highest death toll in the world, behind the United States and Brazil. In terms of infections, India has recorded 6.47 million cases and is on course to overtake the U.S. as the country with the most infections in the coming weeks. India's population of 1.3 billion is, however, around 4 times larger than that of the U.S., which has seen more than twice as many deaths, raising doubts about India's official numbers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government is pressing ahead with opening up Asia's third largest economy, even as virus cases surge. International commercial flights remain suspended, although limited services, many to allow citizens to return to their home countries, have been operating. Trains, metros, domestic flights, markets, and restaurants have already reopened or resumed service with some restrictions. On Wednesday, the government said that all schools could reopen along with cinemas and swimming pools subject to certain conditions. Uttar Pradesh state, home to 200 million people, is allowing religious events from October 15. And in Spain, restaurant managers expressed their concern over a new measure imposed by the Spanish government, which forces bars and restaurants to operate with limited opening hours and sitting capacity in a bid to stem the spread of COVID-19 in the capital, Madrid.
Yo creo que con estas medidas muchos locales pensarán en cerrar, porque imagínese, si las cuentas ya no cubrían como estábamos, ahora al 60% afuera y 50% dentro, y encima cerrar a las 11, para nosotros es, ya les digo, o sea, que más pérdida que cubrir gastos.
Bueno, más que todo nos afecta porque la hora del cierre, que bueno, va a ser 10 a 11, es donde más vendemos copas o bueno, donde más hay influencia en este momento de gente, porque en las tardes casi no ha habido.
With coronavirus infection soaring, the city of Madrid imposed a partial lockdown that will cut it off from the rest of the country. The new restrictions, which will also apply to 9 other nearby towns where infection rates are high, came into force at 10 p.m. with people only allowed to leave the area for work, school, or medical and legal reasons. Although Madrid's regional leaders have agreed to implement the restrictions, they strongly oppose the closure, filing an appeal at the National Court to challenge its legality. The new measures, which will initially be imposed for 14 days, will affect 4.5 million people in the city and the other 9 towns, requiring them to avoid all unnecessary travel, but not confining them to their homes. And with medical services under pressure as coronavirus cases spike, a convention center in Myanmar's largest city, Yangon, is being transformed into a new COVID-19 hospital for 500 patients. Myanmar has registered 1,142 new cases in the last 24 hours, reaching about 15,500 in total. Residents have been told to stay at home unless working in certain key industries or shopping for food or medical supplies. Domestic travel out of the city is forbidden, and a ban on international commercial flights has been extended until the end of October. In South Africa, first international commercial flight touches down in Cape Town post-lockdown and more than 6 months after the closure of Burkina Faso schools. To prevent the spread of COVID-19, students are returning for the start of the school and university year 2020 to 2021. Plus, Kenya is reporting a decline in coronavirus cases, and hospital admissions for COVID-19 have already fallen sharply. Here are some news from South Africa.
International commercial flights landed in South Africa for the first time in over 6 months this week, touching down amid a flurry of celebrations in some airports as coronavirus-linked travel restrictions lifted. Africa's most industrialized economy sealed its borders at the start of a strict lockdown in late March to limit the spread of the virus. Restrictions on movement and business have gradually eased since May, but international borders remained shut until the 1st of October to avoid admitting infections from abroad. Importantly, though, tourists from high-risk countries still can't visit, a measure which has drawn criticism from some quarters.
We are concerned that key source markets, including the UK, the USA, and France, are prohibited from travelling to South Africa. And it's precisely for that reason that we think that the travel restriction model being imposed by national government needs to be rethought and revisited.
It's a welcome development, however, for those needing to travel for work.
Well, I'm working overseas, so just haven't been able to come home since Christmas, basically. So first time back, so that's good.
South Africa has been relatively hard hit by the pandemic, with more than 670,000 infections and almost 17,000 deaths recorded to date, just under half the total number of cases detected on the continent. And it's also back to school for students in Burkina Faso, where education establishments are reopening their doors after being closed for more than 6 months. Year groups that had been due to sit exams resumed at the end of the last school year, but most students hadn't set foot in a classroom since mid-March. Masks have been distributed to pupils and teachers, and the method to make up for lost time is clear.
The plan is to pick up where we left off, quickly finish last year's course before starting this year's one. We have until mid-November to complete this course.
And in Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta announced that a number of lockdown measures will be eased as the rate of new infections slowly declines in the East African nation.
That the prohibition against the operation of bars and the prohibition against the sale of alcoholic drinks and beverages by ordinary restaurants and eateries shall stand vacated with effect from the 29th of September 2020.
Along with re-allowing the sale of alcohol, the permitted maximum size of religious gatherings will increase to 1/3 of the normal seating capacity. The nationwide dusk to dawn curfew will run for a further 2 months, but with a delayed start time of 11 p.m. rather than 9. Kenya has reported over 38,000 cases of COVID-19 and 700 deaths since announcing its first case in March. And despite the easing of measures, the president has warned that a second wave is still very possible.
Eagle News will be right back.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon, gabay natin ang MTRCB ratings sa matalino at responsableng panonood. Sa tamang pagsunod sa MTRCB ratings, ginagawa nating ligtas at makabuluhan ang panonood ng bawat miyembro ng pamilyang Pilipino. Lumipas man ang panahon, hanggang may pamilyang Pilipino, andyan ang MTRCB.
Hello po sa inyong lahat! Ako nga pala si Rapido.
At ako naman po si Angel. Samahan ninyo kami ngayong linggo, alas 10 ng umaga.
Sabay-sabay nating kilalanin ang mga featured singer-songwriter this week sa ating EBC Music Concert Series.
#Enjoy Music Beyond the Crisis.
Anong unang gagawin mo pag umiyak? Iyak. Will you,
Pag makita kita sa barangay Aguila, pag makabalik ka, hindi ko alam.
Mapapatalong ka ba papunta sa akin? Tatakbo ka ba?
Grabe naman.
Yayakapin mo ba kagad ako?
Ako, pagalitan pa ako ni Mommy G. Sabi niya, "Uy, ikaw ha, iring-iring ka." Iring-iring. Oo, sabi, "Ikaw ha?" Ganyan. Pagalitan ako ni Mommy G. Siyempre, yakapin kita. Oh. Karding!
Gaano kahigpit?
Kaya lang, galing ka pa ng di ba? Karding!
Hindi, siyempre, nakaligo na. Ikaw naman.
Ang COVID!
Siyempre, nakaligo na ako niya. Pag pumunta ako sa'yo, mabango na ako.
Nagkuaranting ka muna.
Kumanta, sumaya tayong lahat. Saya.
Ang gagawing pagpapasiklab ng IOX sa First Multi-Finals ng Tagisan ng Galing Part 2 Dance Edition.
Police arrested 16 people who took part in overnight protests marking the anniversary of the illegal referendum on Catalan independence that triggered Spain's worst political crisis in decades.
Al principio decíamos que pensamos que todo iba a ser más rápido, que iba a ser un proceso rápido, pero estar aquí 3 años más tarde es triste. El ver que nada ha cambiado, que las cosas en vez de mejorar un poco, seguir igual, han empeorado. O sea, es doloroso, es triste.
3 years after a banned referendum, protesters hit the streets to support Catalan independence. Spain's top court also recently upheld a ruling disqualifying Catalonia's separatist president, Quim Torra, from office, triggering protests across the wealthy region. Torra was convicted for refusing to remove a banner with separatist slogans from his government's headquarters in the run-up to the April 2019 general election. Armenia and Azerbaijan have traded accusations of using foreign fighters, mostly from Syria, in the battle for Nagorno-Karabakh. Take a look. From the onset of the clashes last Sunday, Armenia has accused Turkey of sending mercenaries from northern Syria to fight alongside the Azeris. On Friday, Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan told French newspaper Le Figaro that Turkey had transported thousands of mercenaries and terrorists to Azerbaijan from northern Syria. Pashinyan and Russian President Vladimir Putin, in a phone call, expressed serious concern over the reported involvement in military action of militants of illegal armed groups from the Middle East. French President Emmanuel Macron also weighed in, demanding that Turkey explain what he said was the arrival of jihadist fighters in Azerbaijan. There has been no official comment from Turkey, which backs Baku in the conflict, but Azerbaijan has denied the reports.
Je peux vous confirmer en propre que 300 combattants ont quitté la Syrie pour rejoindre Bakou en passant par Gaziantep. Ces combattants sont connus, tracés, identifiés. Ils viennent de groupes djihadistes qui opèrent dans la région d'Alep. C'est un état de fait et d'autres contingents se préparent à peu près de la même taille. Je ne vais pas vous dire aujourd'hui que c'est une ligne rouge, parce qu'elle est franchie. Elle est franchie. Et quand je donne une ligne rouge, j'ai pu le montrer à d'autres égards, je pense à la Syrie, j'apporte une réponse. Je dis que c'est inacceptable. Et j'invite l'ensemble des partenaires de l'OTAN à regarder simplement en face ce qu'est un comportement de membres de l'OTAN. Je ne pense pas que ça en relève. Et donc là-dessus, c'est aussi un point sur lequel nous devons absolument avoir un dialogue de vérité avec la Turquie. J'appellerai sur ce point.
Now, the two countries have clashed for days over the breakaway region of Nagorno-Karabakh. Nagorno-Karabakh has declared martial law and total military mobilization. The region is internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan, but controlled by ethnic Armenians. The conflict in the Caucasus Mountains has remained unresolved for more than 3 decades. Fierce winds drove heavy rain across large swathes of France on Friday, knocking out electricity for tens of thousands of homes along the western Atlantic coast and causing destructive floodings in the southeast. Take a look. An autumn storm named Alex buffeted Brittany overnight, with wind gusts reaching 186 kilometers per hour or 115 kilometers per hour at Belle-Île-en-Mer, an island off the coast near Nantes. Emergency services were mobilized to clear fallen trees and downed power lines, though no deaths were reported in the region, according to authorities. But many schools and parks were closed, train services were halted, and access to the coasts prohibited. Beaches in Nice and other coastal cities were closed, and authorities asked people to stay at home and refrain from using their cars unless in case of emergency. And one person has died and 11 others are listed as missing Saturday after severe flooding across northern Italy, according to officials, following torrential overnight rain. Civil protection officials said a volunteer firefighter died at Valdoste during a rescue operation, while regional authorities reported 11 people as missing in the Piedmont region, where several villages were cut off. Eagle News will be right back.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon, gabay natin ang MTRCB ratings sa matalino at responsableng panonood. Sa tamang pagsunod sa MTRCB ratings, ginagawa nating ligtas at makabuluhan ang panonood ng bawat miyembro ng pamilyang Pilipino. Lumipas man ang panahon, hanggang may pamilyang Pilipino, andyan ang MTRCB.
want to earn a degree while you work? New Era University now offers Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program, or ETIAP. ETIAP is an educational scheme that recognizes knowledge, skills, and prior learning obtained by individuals from non-formal and informal education experiences. It is implemented through deputized higher educational institutions like the New Era University that awards the appropriate degrees. Programs offered are the following: Master's Program, Masters of Arts in Education, major in Educational Management, Master's Program in Business Administration, Bachelor of Arts in Science, major in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Science, major in Mass Communication, Bachelor of Science in Education, major in Filipino, major in English, Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with majors in Human Resources Development, Marketing Management, and Financial Management. Beneficiaries must be Filipinos who have attained at least high school level of education. The program is flexible and you don't need to attend regular classes. Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program, or ETIAP, is under the supervision of Dr. Nilo L. Rosas, the University President, and Professor Anita P. Santos, Director of ETIAP. For more information, contact the following: Cristina Moreno, 0995-138-0786, or email cvmoreno@neu.edu.ph, or Arlene Sarmiento, 0906-298-9150, or email cedctl@neu.edu.ph. What are you waiting for? Let New Era University be your partner in achieving your dreams.
Following the government's easing of requirements for construction of cell towers, Globe said it has acquired 252 more permits in September after securing 411 licenses in August alone. In a statement, Globe said the combined permits secured in August and September were the greatest number of permits given by local government units, or LGU, to the company in a span of 2 months. A total of 715 permits, it said, were secured from the LGUs all over the country since the issuance of the Joint Memorandum Circular Number 01/S/2020 that seeks to streamline and reduce delays in the construction of common towers. Aside from building permits, Globe said it secured 84 certificates of final electrical inspection in the last 8 weeks. Joel Agustin, Globe Senior Vice President for Program Delivery, said Cavite, Bulacan, Batangas, Rizal, and Pangasinan were the top 5 provinces that issued the most building permits. And ants scurry around in transparent boxes stacked outside a Singaporean store that's tapping into an unlikely but growing local trend of keeping the 6-legged creatures as pets. John Yee says he became fascinated with the compassionate, creepy crawlies after receiving some as a gift from his brother-in-law. Take a look.
Because I feel that in Singapore there's a really small community, and I wish to have actually a place where people can gather and share insights and, you know, share their ant-keeping journey, and of course grow this community. 1,001 things that, you know, fascinate me, such as they are very endearing in life, they are altruistic, they are compassionate, they have this undying spirit in them, you know, coming from a humble ant, so small and so tiny, but they can accomplish, you know, great feats of. Well, most Singaporeans do have a very big misconception on ants. There are like people saying, oh, they are really pests, you shouldn't keep them, they invade your property, they terrorize your whole house. Yeah, and that you should actually not keep ants because ants, you know, they're poisonous, they're dirty, disgusting, they carry diseases. So it's like, we always fear something that we don't understand. So we're trying to like change their mindset.
Check it out. To be honest, I was so sure it cannot be selling ants. And if it was selling ants, is it selling them for fish or as food, you know? And I'm very tickled. They are actually selling ants as pets. It's totally unheard of for me because you want to get rid of ants all the time. And sometimes we see too many, you feel a bit creepy about it, I think the next time I look at ants, I say, hey, not everybody wants to kill them, And I think I would definitely have a second thought. But it still doesn't mean I would love to keep ants. It's a very hard line to cross. But they've always been, for us, something that you don't want around the food, something that can bite you.
The 41-year-old eventually ditched a job in electronics distribution to open Just Ants in January and cater to fellow enthusiasts. The shop sells ant farms along with specialist equipment, including mini handheld vacuums for catching the insects, tiny feeding dishes, and mealworms used as feed. It was forced to close for a period due to the coronavirus lockdown earlier this year. But now it has reopened since restrictions were eased and business is picking up. It stocks 30 to 40 species sourced from ant keeper friends or collected by Yi and his team around Singapore. Catching the creature is no easy task. It's usually only possible during the so-called nuptial flights, when new queens and winged male ants take to the air in the hope of finding a mate. The queen ants are then placed in test tubes or small tanks where they give birth to a colony of worker ants if they have mated. LeBron James and Anthony Davis delivered a fearsome 1-2 punch for Los Angeles on Friday, sparking more memories of Lakers legends Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant. James and Davis combined for 65 points in the Lakers' 124-114 victory over the Heat, which put Los Angeles halfway to victory in the best-of-7 championship series. Miami forward Jimmy Butler vowed that the Heat won't roll over against the Los Angeles Lakers, despite a second straight double-digit defeat in the NBA Finals on Friday. Take a look.
Myself and AD, we're not satisfied, and with just the win. We want to be great. We want to be great, as close to 48 minutes as possible. And I know I said it after game one, but I'm extremely excited to watch the film tomorrow as well as a group and see ways we can be better. We're playing against a very dangerous team in Miami where, they have 5 guys on the floor that's a threat. Obviously, we're all 4 of us, with all different positions. Kobe was a natural 2 guard. I'm kind of whatever position. Shaq is a center, and AD is kind of a hybrid as well. So, but I guess all 4 of us, we have a winning mentality, and we just try to make enough plays out on the floor throughout the course of the game that will benefit not only ourselves individually, but for the most important thing, for the better of the team. And I can't even believe that we, up here talking about myself and AD with Kobe and Shaq. I mean, it's an incredible thing.
Great thing is we always have either Rondo or LeBron out there to quarterback the action, and make sure that we're seeing seeing the targets and trying to get the ball to guys in positions to be effective. And when you have two guys like that, or one of them on the floor for all 48 minutes, you're going to get a lot of good action. So I credit those guys.
That we're never giving up. We're gonna fight, and we're gonna ride with this thing till the wheels fall off. It's not over. We're just down on 2. We got to do something special. We're capable of it. And I wouldn't want to be in the trenches with any other guys except for the ones that we have.
Necessary. It's simple as that. If you want something badly enough, you'll figure it out. And our group is extremely stubborn, persistent, and we just need to figure out, how to overcome this opponent, and that we.
The Heat were swimming against a fierce tide on Friday after Goran Dragic and Bam Adebayo, both injured in Wednesday's Game 1 blowout loss, were ruled out of Game 2 and possibly beyond in the best-of-7 championship series. Dragic was the Heat's leading scorer this postseason, and Adebayo was averaging double-digit points and rebounds. But Butler, as you heard there say, it's not about who's on the floor, it's about putting in the effort as the Heat try Sunday to avoid falling into a 0-3 hole from which no NBA team has come back to win a best-of-7 series.
Great thing is,
the makers of the new James Bond movie, which has already had its release date pushed back once due to the pandemic, on Friday said it would not now be released until April 2021. Take a look. The Church of Christ in Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea celebrated its 30 years anniversary. Echo Ortalesa Quinola reports from our EBC Papua New Guinea Bureau.
The Iglesia ni Cristo, or the Church of Christ in Port Moresby, Australia West District, celebrated its 30 years anniversary, reminiscing the journey of the church way back its establishment in the country in 1990. The church members commemorated the significant event with numerous church and public service activities. The members of the Church of Christ in this part of the world celebrated this momentous occasion with a special worship gathering and a musical program showcased via video conference. It was also a perfect opportunity to reach out to the community, conducting their Aid to Humanity programs and providing emotional support to fellow kababayans through online evangelical missions and Pasugo magazine distributions that discuss positivity and inspirational topics to help cope during this time of pandemic. Brother Regino Manangan Jr., a minister of the gospel based here in Papua New Guinea, shares the church's great milestones in this country.
The Church of Christ here in Port Moresby had done innumerable aid to humanity programs. We are extending acts of kindness to the people of PNG because we believe that in this simple way, we can be of service to them. And now, as we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the local congregation of Port Moresby District of Australia West, there is a pride, there is a joy in our hearts because of the huge and massive blessings, protections, guidance, and love from our Lord God Almighty. All praise and glory to Him.
Nowadays, in these hard times of pandemic, the congregation members in Port Moresby continue to strive fulfilling their church duties and remain proactive in reaching out to the communities in need. To all Church of Christ members in Port Moresby, happy 30th anniversary! From Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, Echo Hortaleza Quinola, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
In time of physical and emotional distance, we give importance to the unsung service delivered by our frontliners. Our news correspondents positioned all over the world. Without them, we would not have the eagle eye focus on the facts of this pandemic and its continuing repercussions on our lives. To our international correspondents, thank you for staying in touch with our viewers. Stay safe, protect yourselves and others. Good night, Amalma Angeles. We live in interesting times.
Sa ibang bansa, ang iba ay di siwerte, bumalik ng walang wala. Hindi mo makikita, bakas ng pagluha. Ang Pilipino, simple lang ang gusto, basta't may kwentuhan, tawanan at kantahan. walang pera. Okay, saya, saya, okay, saya, saya, tayo lahat ay masaya. Tumawa ng tumawa, dapat laging masaya. Buhay ay gaganda. Okay, saya, saya, okay, saya, saya, tayo lahat ay masaya. Kumalok, sumigaw, kumanta, sumayaw, tayo lahat. Okay, saya, saya. Okay, saya, saya, okay, saya, saya, tayo lahat ay masaya. Tumawa ng tumawa, dapat laging masaya. Buhay ay gaganda. Okay, saya, saya, okay, saya, saya, tayo lahat ay masaya. Tumalok, sumigaw, kumanta, sumaya, tayong lahat. Okay, saya, saya. Kumanta, sumaya, tayong lahat. Okay, saya, saya.
Ang layunin ng UNLAD, Kaagapay sa Hanap Buhay, itong programang ito, sa pangunguna ng ating tagapamahalang pangkalahatan ng kapatid Waldo Manalo, ay masasabi nating 4 na layunin. Una ay akitin natin tao sa paghahanap buhay. Ang ikalawang layunin na ituro sa tao kung ano ang iba't ibang hanap buhay na maaari niyang gawin sa bahay lang. At ikatlo ay turuan natin ng tao na magbigay ng panahon sa mga hanap buhay ukol sa agrikultura. At ang ika-4 ay bibigyan natin ng pagkakataon ang mga kapatid at hindi man kapatid na mabigyan sila ng trabaho. Kaya sana ay itong ating programa ay magtagumpay sapagkat napakaganda ng layunin ito.
Marami mang pagsubok na dumaraan.
Naganap ang kahirapan, kawalan ang hanap buhay.
Sa atin ay may aagapay, sa pagbangon may karamay. Lakasan natin ang ating loob, malalampasan natin sa tulong ng Diyos. Kaagapay sa hanap buhay, labanan natin ang kahirapan. Magsikap, maghawak kamay. Kinabukasan ay uunlad, may kaagapay sa hanap buhay. Marami ay hindi alam kung saan kukuha pang gusto sa pamilya, paano kikita. Huwag mawawalan ng pag-asa, di ka nag-iisa.
Ang unlad na biyaya ng Diyos,
Sama-sama nating itaguyon. Kaagapay sa hanap buhay, labanan natin ang kahirapan. Magsikap, maghanap
dahil sa COVID-19 na itala sa ito ng pangamba
kontra COVID-19, may na
COVID-19.
COVID-19 is spreading all throughout the country.
Darating ang panahong ang langit ay kulimlim. Sa ayaw at sa gusto mo, sasapit ang gabi magdidilim. Hindi kailangang kumapit sa patalim, bagkus lumapit, umawak ng maigting.
Tahimik na panalangin, ibulong sa kanya anumang daing at hiling.
Walang makakapigil sa pusong nanggigigil, hindi titigil.
Na maniwala, magtiwala, di ka dapat mabahala, manatili kang mababala.
Tumingala, hindi hinto sa pagtakbo. Tuloy ang laban, maghihintay na may paninindigan. Sulong-sulong sa pagsalubong, sa tagumpay kay tagal na hinintay. Wala na sanang aayaw, ngayon pa ba manghihinayang? Sa pawis at luha na pinuhunan, sabay-sabay na isigaw. Tuloy ang laban.
Kalamitan ako'y inuunos, pundasyon ko'y nagmisto ng mga tulos, katawang lupa'y hilabot ng lubos. Maria mga buti pinupulpos, realidad ba to o di tunay? Diyan ko tiring magasin tunay, kapiling ng dilim, nagkagubugay. Titigan ba ako o nasa hukay? Dali natatakot, kinakatakutan, kakilakilabot, kinikilabutan. Pagsubok matakot ako, siya ay pinalimutan. Sugos ako natakot at hindi kinalimutan.
Walang makakapigil sa pusong nanggigigil, hindi titigil.
Na maniwala, magtiwala, di ka dapat mabahala, manatili kang mababala.
Tumingala, hindi hinto sa pagtakbo. Tuloy ang laban, maghihintay na may paninindigan. Sulong-sulong sa pagsalubog, sa tagumpay kay tagal na hinintay. Wala na sanang aayaw, ngayon pa ba manghihinayang? Sa pawis at luha na pinuhunan, sabay-sabay na isigaw. Tuloy ang laban, ako'y nasasaktan. Kahit na aking nararanasan ang kalungkutan.
Bawat hakbang ay pinag-aralan, titinaging nahirapan. Di malilimutan ang lahat ng pagkalimbo, habang nahihilong lakas ng loob ang nabubuo. May desire
This is Net 25, a commercial UHF television station owned and operated by the Eagle Broadcasting Corporation. Transmitting on a 50 kilowatt output with NTC permit number BSD-0184-2020 authorizing this station to operate until July 12, 2023. Net 25 studios and transmitter are located at number 25 Central Avenue, New Era, Quezon City. Net 25 is headed by the following personnel duly licensed by the Professional Regulations Commission and the National Telecommunications Commission. Engineer Armando C. Bonifacio Jr., PECE number 838. Engineer Bernard N. Pangulayan, PECE number 869. Engineer Randy A. Velasco, PECE number 555, with first-class radio telephone operators, Modesto Vidavera, 96-1 PNCR-18494, Fred C. Moliana, 93-1 PVI-6551, Crisostomo G. Narvaez Jr., 96-1 PII-17628. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Net 25 signing off.
Bayang Magi